Was that an amazing film or what?
What?
So please join me in welcoming Dawn Porter, the director, and Leah Smith, producer, to the stage. We have a surprise guest whom we're going to introduce later.
Is that Valerie
Congratulations,
Simpson?
Dawn, Leah.
Or Danielle Smith? That's Valerie Simpson gonna die.
Should we invite our surprise guest? Yeah. Let's do it. All right, we have a surprise guest, Valerie Simpson. So everyone knows Valerie, but Dawn wanted us to make sure that you really know the achievement of the artist we have on stage. So Valerie Simpson and Nicholas Ashworth were a songwriting, production, and recording dynamo duo who had two careers, writing and producing, and as singers and performers. They joined Motown, where their best-known songs included Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Reach Out, Touch Somebody's Hand, and countless hits like Chaka Khan's I'm Every Woman. The duo were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2002. Now, if I really read through this list, I don't think we'll have much time for a Q&A, so I'll let you read that up. So, Dom, why don't we start, what a rich body of work. You've done such a service, actually, by documenting it all for us and for future generations to see. How did this project start and what motivated you?
Well, first of all, thank you all for staying and Clarkus supporting. Congratulations to the 9:30 Club here. Look at you all up on a Thursday night. Yes, like, good for you. So Sony Music has been kind of going through their catalog and looking for different artists. And so I had a meeting with them, and they listed a number of artists, some very, kind of contemporary artists, and they got to Luther, and I was like, wait, what? There's no Luther movie? And so, then they kind of opened up the archives, and we had all that rehearsal footage, and all those interviews those were EPKs, if you know that, electronic press kits. So a lot of those are just seen when you're publicizing one record, and then they're just gone. And as you see, they make allows Luther to tell his story. So I think once I realized there was no film, they would let us use the music. So you could see the music gets to play out in this movie. And so with all of those elements, it just kind of fell into place.
And there was additional archival research. Did you have to do?
There was
I'm sure you did.
quite a lot. Leah is a fabulous producer, and Leah is a Luther superfan. And so she is our fact check person who, this film wouldn't be what it is without Leah's, kind of honor, care, love, and attention to detail. And so, we felt a big responsibility to this artist who, as you see, he's in so many things that we didn't even remember or know. And so, unearthing that was really joyful.
So Leah, as a producer myself, I have to ask you the producer question. Like, what was the most challenging part of making this film?
Whittling down the songs. Luther, as we know, has like a massive catalog and so many great hits. We could have added 10 more and we would still have more hits, but there were some that we knew we had to get in. But even our last song, originally, we didn't have So Amazing. And Robert Glasper, our phenomenal Robert Glasper, is our composer on this film. We were watching it cut back and he was like, wait, y'all don't have So Amazing? And we're like, you were right, we don't. And it wasn't that we didn't love So Amazing, but we just had to find the right place. We really wanted the songs to make sense for the narrative of the story that Luther was telling, that we were telling. So that was one of the most challenging parts, I think, of making the film.
So Valerie, I do have to ask you, I'm sure watching this film must bring back so many memories. The one thing that resonates with me, having watched it twice now this evening. You know, all the songs are about love, and yet love was something that Luther was looking for, or that he felt was missing in his own life, at least love for.
Well, that's why I love what we get to see, because as well as I knew Luther Vandross, there are things here that I found new and discovered. And the most important thing, I think, was how autobiographical Any Love. Because I didn't understand the song when it came out. He didn't say it was about him personally. And so when I saw it, it just hurt my heart. It really did. Because I felt like he gave all of us. How many of you have ever seen him live? I felt like he gave all of us everything he had, because he didn't have any love. So finally getting to understand that is his story, you know, it just moved me, you know. And the fact that you say that you had all that footage so we could finally put him back together after 19 years. He's been gone 19 years, y'all. And now finally people will discover him for the first time. And I'm thrilled about that. That's why I came down from New York, because I want to make him bigger than ever.
And you have to tell us what you missed in New York tonight, that you strip.
I have a club in New York, y'all. So it's called the Sugar Bar, because people started asking me about it. It's on the west side, and it's a really great place for entertainment. Luther's giving parties there. I mean, it's a great place. And I'm always there on Thursday. When she called with this request, I said, I got to give it up and come on down. No, go, leave the country.
All right, we have time for questions, and I'm sure there are lots. So I think there's some mics going around, and is there someone around? Maybe you can just stand up and speak loud enough.
So great. I really enjoyed the film. Do you still have your Sunday gospel brunch at the Sugar Bar?
Yes,
Yes,
we have the brunch, but it's sometimes we have gospel, and sometimes it's just regular music.
Toronto needs one of those.
More questions. Come on, people.
Okay, well, we're working on the next question. Let me ask you, where are we going to be seeing this next? On you know, the one of the streamers? Or is it going to be on the big screen? Are you going to have?
Stay tuned. So the film is for sale, and so we're in lots of conversations, and very excited about some very big news, hopefully soon. It's been really thrilling, the reaction to this movie. We are playing across the country. We're in more than 20 film festivals across the country, and in many of them we're the opening or closing night movie. And I think I think it's a really good movie. But I also think that you know, we live in such divisive times, and it's so nice to go to a film and sink into it, and just go on that journey with someone who's such a talent, and you discover some things, you remember some things. And even the hard parts, I think they're hard like life is hard, you know, I usually make political films, really. I've made a lot of political films, and this was kind of the movie I needed, you know. I needed to be able to remember this great art and this great friend. It was, you know, really such a pleasure for me to be able to live with this footage for, you know, the better part of a year.
No, but I love the way that you weave some of those, which you said some parts are hard, and you know, the media obsession with his weight and his it's like, is that and reducing him to that with media interviews. I'm not sure if there were longer pieces, and this was the part that you have used, or
we could have done a half an hour back to back of people asking, how much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? I mean, it was really actually shocking to see how he was treated like an object, and then, you know, an object of ridicule, and how he handled that. And, you know, that struggle was real. I mean, Valerie and Nick knew him very well, and, you know, you have lots of stories about his up and downs.
Well, you know, the cruelty, and I think probably now even more with the internet and the things that people are allowed to say without being seen, can really hurt. I mean, even bad reviews hurt. So when you're trying, you see how hard, I mean, Luther really did have like 3 different sizes because he couldn't stay where he wanted to stay. So he had fat clothes, he had medium clothes, and he had skinny. He gave all his skinny clothes to my husband, Nick Ashford. He really did. He would come over to the house with suits with the tags on them. He says, the only way I can wear this is if I, you know, carrot, you know, so I'm giving it to you, you know, but that really was something that he wanted to be his best for us, y'all. He really did. And so that's the way he wanted to look. And sometimes he could hold it. But sometimes, you know, aside from the weight thing, with them questioning in his personal life, and, you know, I think if he wasn't on drugs, he didn't drink, he was just too pure. That was the problem. And so they always looked for something to pull on, to pull out, you know, and to wear him out, and wear him down. And when you're not thinking about it, he didn't have a significant other that could say, don't even worry about that, don't listen to them. There was nobody in his home. He was living alone. So he really didn't need any love, and he didn't have it, you know, and that makes me sad when I think about it.
But there was something that you said, you know, when we were coming in the car that I noticed that you said he gave so much love into his music and he poured himself in that he probably didn't have too much of himself left to give to someone else,
It's true.
a partner, right? So that it's so clear in his music. He's poured himself into, his soul is in his music, and he gives it all out to all of us. Any questions?
You kind of touched on his sexuality in the film, and was there more that was maybe left out? Like, did he ever fall in love with someone, or was there, was he ever
So the question is about the section on his sexuality. Was there more? Did he have that love? As far as I know, and of everything that we watched and with everyone that we spoke to, he certainly had romances, but he didn't have that great, that like Ashford and Simpson love, you know, that like partner for a life, you know, solid, you know, as a rock. He didn't have that. So no, we didn't. The struggle really was, he was very clear in every single interview about how he felt about questions about his personal life. He was very, very clear. And of course, you know, he's giving those interviews in the late 90s. AIDS is ravaging. He's already, you know, trying to break through. There's a lot of pressures that it's hard for us to, with our 2024 eyes, to imagine, remember, which kind of thank goodness that, you know, so in the end, so we worked on that section quite a bit. We cut it and recut it and recut it. And then what finally felt the best was what Fonzie said. I'm gonna honor what he said. And so we give him literally the last word. And so, you know, that as a filmmaker, you have lots of choices. And to me, it's important, you don't always agree with your subjects, but where their choices are honorable and understandable, you honor those, so.
Okay, we can take one more question. Who's
Oh,
going to be
well.
the last one?
I'm not gonna get it. Somebody down there.
Take two.
We'll take two. All right, let's take
Two.
It's not really a question, I just want to thank you, that was a beautiful film. And we love you.
It's all right. I talk them after. It's not a big deal.
Yep, go ahead.
First of all, congratulations. Quick question, how long was the process from starting to finish? And then my other part, was there any surprising learning things that you had going
Yeah, a lot was surprising. I'll let Leah talk about the start to finish.
Start to finish, testing? Okay, great. So the actual start, our producer partners, Jed, Trish, and Jed Doherty and Trish Chetty, they actually started, I think, talking with the family like in 2015, right? Long time ago. Way precedes Dawn and I. And then we actually came on board around, we started like the first day of the process, January of last year. And we were pretty much done by like November of last year. So we did this fairly quickly. One of the things in terms of the characters, I don't think I reached out to anybody who was not like, I want to do this, it just needs to fit into my schedule. Like literally, I think when we reached out to Dion, she was like, I would do anything for Luther. Mariah, we had a little bit of a scheduling thing, but from day one, she always wanted to participate. Same with Nah, like everybody was really accommodating to us, and it really is a testament to how much they loved Valerie. Of course, she was so welcoming to us. Like it was really testament to how much people loved them. So we didn't have those delays that some productions have because can't get the right people. So we were able to move it along fairly quickly. So like 10 months essentially. What was the second part? I can't remember. Sorry.
What surprises did you have?
Oh, surprises. So I hadn't seen the Sesame Street footage. We were like, wait, what? We just played that over and over and over. I was like, come here to my children. I was like, watch this. They're like, what are you talking about? So Sesame Street, David Bowie, that footage. And I think people may have seen Luther being back up, but didn't know the story. And I really want to emphasize that because that is a lot of what happens to Black artists, is they do not get credit for the intellectual part and their craft. It's like, oh, you just open your mouth and sing, like that's easy. And instead, like that's why we start with Fonzie saying he was a boss from the beginning. That his story, there's many stories of people who music saves them from a traumatic childhood or whatever. That's not his story. His story is he has loving parents, a father who died too soon, but always a sense of self. And so, seeing that, like that's also why it was so important to me to let him speak. Let him come first, because then you see it for yourself. You don't have to trust that my choices. You see what he was doing. You see him taking the singers and taking them through their rehearsals. And I love that. Like it's like a film director for your voice. When Lisa Fisher says that. Or when you see the duet with Mariah Carey and how he was so generous to a very young Mariah Carey who had never performed in that big of an audience before. So, a lot of this and then, the last thing I'll say is I so admired how he was so clear about who came before him and about his influences and how he loved these women and he loved their grace and their elegance. And that was him. He was always so well dressed. And and when Oprah takes him through, she's like, somebody with money lives in this house, but you really see, I think, a fuller person, and you see a producer, a writer, a boss, a leader, an intellectual. You don't just see somebody.
I agree. I think we got more credit because we started as songwriters, but he did not get the credit he deserved as a writer. And he had a huge hit in The Wiz, as you saw. But even when he sang it differently because it was much more up-tempo in the play, and it still goes on. So, his writing skills, just went by everybody's head. I never could understand that.
I just want to say, Valerie, you're an icon. When will you be performing in Toronto?
Right now. It's gonna give us a little something right now.
You got a theater?
Yes. Right here, right now.
All right, we'll take one last question here.
No, never.
No, he just gave a big party, a birthday party at the Sugar Bar, and had a whole bunch of stars. Only one I remember is Diana Ross because I couldn't get her to come, but he got her in there.
Well, Don, Valerie, Leah, thank you so much. Thank you for this wonderful film. Thank you all for your time. Remember, you can still vote for the film outside, and make sure you cast your vote. Thanks.
Wow. Pick up my jacket, Junior. Right there. I want to go down and see if I can get a grab a big. Sorry.
Okay. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to see you.
Sorry. I'm trying to race to see if I can get a little high.
Race
Lovely
away.
film, eh?
Lovely.
What? Such a pleasure. You give us so much pleasure.
Oh, bless your heart.
Solid as a Rock was
Okay.
the song, one of my songs with one of my partners. That was our love song. That's how we met.
Oh, wow.
Solid as a Rock. So beautiful. Beautiful work. I love it.
Thank
and I also want to say, you are bosses. Like I was sitting here, we were sitting here go, full. I feel full.
Good.
But the only thing I want to ask you to comment on was, what's the legacy you think of this story? Because I think of all these young queer Black men in the community who are struggling with the same thing around, I don't want to have my mom be embarrassed or my family, right? Because that's what I so heard from him. And I have to say, I watched the film and I'm sort of sitting here with melancholia. Like there's such melancholy in a lot of his songs, which makes them quite beautiful, right? But I also sit there with a sort of pain and sadness and also anger and thinking, what would you say is one of the messages of the story for the next young generations when they watch this around your right to have love and to find that for yourself and not to be held by, yes, your mom or your dad, but you need to have love. It's so important.
That people understand where we are today.
Right.
And how far we've come.
Yeah.
The fact that people can't understand why someone would still be closeted.
Right.
That's actually progress.
Yes.
But we don't understand
Yeah.
the pressures for
Yeah.
people. And so, I think people have the right to express
Yeah.
themselves. And I hope everyone says, I feel sorry for him that he couldn't have whatever his full
Yeah.
legacy was, but I'm so happy for me
Yeah.
that I don't live
That's really-
in a prejudiced society,
Yeah.
or that it's the odd thing is to be prejudiced.
Right.
Like you're the outlier now
Yeah.
if you're homophobic.
Good. That's a good message.
You're not. You're in the minority now. You got to get with the program.
And an important thing that you're saying there is about how we really appreciate that. The time we live in now is not the time that he was growing up in and living in,
And we
right?
have to remember that.
And I also think about when you lose your dad and you or your moms, you're so important for your mom without your dad around, right? So anyway, so beautiful. Thank you. Such a gift. Such a gift.
Some Sugar Bar fans.
I That was so good.
So good.
It really made me cry.
I cried over and over. Is that what you wanted, the impact you wanted to have? That people
You want
really
people to feel.
feel.
And
That's
so whatever
it.
they feel.
Yeah.
No, I feel like
Even as you were in it, making it, that probably was also happening for you through it.
some moments, but for the most part, the other audiences, pretty much everybody's
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that I got is that he probably felt so much pressure in terms of responsibility for everyone around him.
Yeah.
Whoever breaks through,
Yes.
we carry everybody, and that's we do it. We don't have a choice but to do it.
Industry and everything.
But look how he reached back.
Yeah.
So
It was
remember-
wonderful.
Remember the elegance of Dion.
Yeah.
The elegance of Lisa.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And he pushed that forward too. I mean, that's one thing we didn't put in, but he was mentored Lisa
many,
Fisher.
many
He
people.
mentored Cheryl Lynn. So it's like it was like
The other doc,
6 feet from fame.
Oh
Yeah.
20 feet from stardom.
20 feet from stardom,
Yeah,
yeah.
that Lisa.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of, thank you so much for this.
Oh, thank you for coming
Thank you
out.
for coming.
And I love what you said at the end there, just around just the different pieces that surprised you as well as you. So new things, right? But just also what he left as legacy for those to come behind. It was wonderful. Anyway, we'll let some other people get something. Thank you for some of the time.
Thank you.
right?
Yes.
We all want pics with Valerie.
Do. Sorry.
You want me to take a pic? Yes, I'll take, and then you can take one for us.
Yes.
I love your hair. I love the whole everything. I love everything. The combination. Who are you? What's your name?
My name is Lillian Jasmine. I'll give you a brochure.
Oh, okay.
I was once Canada's #1 dancer, and now I have my own clinic. I own nightclubs for over 40 years.
All right, here we go. Just doing a countdown.